Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 16th December 2020. The first article for discussion is Punjab Haryana need to look beyond MSP crops. What are the MSP crops? You know, for 24 different types of the crops, Government of India announces MSP, minimum support price. Among this, government procures majorly two crops, that is rice and wheat. This is distributed to the people through public distribution system. How this MSP has come into existence, what are its consequences, we will see in this article. If you observe, these articles are written by the members of Niti Aayog. In a way, they want to support the government stand, and they want to say that why we need to corporatize, marketize agriculture. Let us say, green revolution has changed the life of the farmers in Punjab and Haryana. How did it happen? Pesticides, fertilizers, and then new varieties of seeds, hybrid seeds. This have led to the increased productivity of rice and wheat. Initially they started with wheat, then they went to rice. But this also has brought in certain other problems with it. What are these problems? The land got degraded and subsidy burden of the government has increased like never before. Fertilizers, seeds, power, everything is supplied on subsidies. And added to that, to encourage the farmers and to reduce the market uncertainties, MSP, minimum support price, is announced and procured from these farmers. The rice and wheat is procured. This has created a safety net for the farmers in these states. Later, once the land degraded, productivity started falling. As productivity is decreasing and also production is shifted to other states like Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, etc. So productivity of Punjab and Haryana decreased, and these states' supply has increased. This has created huge financial burden on the government because government has to procure them at MSP. As productivity is decreased, input costs of the farmers also have increased. Now these farmers started demanding to increase MSP, and MSP also has become politically sensitive issue. So political parties also started demanding for raising MSP. This has created a huge burden and problem to the government, and agricultural subsidies started going up. Now, the author argues that this situation has to be changed. Let us see how this situation has to be changed. In this scenario, first is, let us shift agriculture from rice and wheat to other crops. Why? The horticultural crops, these are more economical and also high value addition is there. So vegetables growing, etc., various kinds of fruits, these need to be cultivated. The consumption pattern of the people is also shifting away from cereals. Second, rural employment is a concern. The young generation of the people, they do not want to spend their time on agriculture. They feel that agriculture is not remunerative. So heavy infrastructure development is required and markets have to be created. New industries have to come, agro industries have to come. These will generate rural employment. And it means for this investment is necessary. Government is not in a position to invest. Private investments are necessary. Third is, value addition is missing. It means food processing need to be emphasized. In a nutshell, the private investments, contract farming, these have to be encouraged to the changing circumstances. That is how these people start talking about. They have to look more for high value crops and jobs from non-farm activities, farm related non-farm activities like agro processing industries. Am I clear? So what the farmers' agitations are? Don't change the existing system. What the government is saying, if we don't change the existing system, then we are all are going to suffer. And people say that This existing system is not changed to change the rural environment. It is to support the big corporates. So even big corporates are supported. They are supposed to bring in investments. What is wrong in supporting them? These investments will give jobs to your next generation. This is how the arguments are going on in this context. Next is vaccine drive. So when the people will take vaccine, one is safety has to be there, efficacy has to be there. This have to be proven before approval of the vaccine comes out. And also, post-application consequences need to be monitored. So that's where we need something called long-term follow-up. Another point, be careful over here. A plan to administer vaccines has been put in place. If you observe USA, UK, this plan is there to the last administrative unit level. In USA, it is there up to county level. Who has to administer the vaccine to which population is being decided. In India, is vaccine administration plan is so tight? No. We just gave the broad guidelines how vaccine will be distributed and it is not clearly stated. The next point, cold chain is essential and logistics, transport logistics, etc. are essential. Are these being taken care of? It is the question. And who has to administer the vaccine? Government is readying auxiliary nurse midwives. It means, are these people trained? So without these things, the vaccine administration to such a huge population can become a nightmare. Above all, vaccine hesitancy is there. People may fear the consequences of this vaccine. To overcome this vaccine hesitancy, we need to promote, educate the people on its safety. So who has to take care about this vaccine education? That is another question. So India has to bring in a tight and perfect plan to the last individual with regard to the administration of vaccine. Ideally, it has to be done that way. That is what this article says. Next, from a digital India to digital Bharat. This very statement will be a very conclusion in your answer. Digital India represents urban India. Digital Bharat means connecting with rural India. So digital India and digital Bharat shall go together. Today, what is the biggest problem with regard to internet? Digital divide. Unequal access to high-speed internet between the rural and urban areas. The second is, major source of access to internet is mobile, not the Wi-Fi. And third is digital literacy. The people do not know how to use these high-end tools and information. So to solve this, we have brought in a very simple program, that is PM Vani. Under this, public data offices will be created and anyone can sell the data and anyone can create this office and these people will get paid for the data which they are disseminating. So for that, public data aggregators are created. We don't need any permissions. There will be an app. Anyone who has a tea stall also can bring in public data office. Any coffee shop can be a public data office. So this provides for most simplistic way of approval. So the bureaucratic red tape is totally absent. That is the beauty of this. A decentralized approach to build digital divide is the beauty of this particular program. A decentralized built up for digital divide. Now, what are the concerns? First, anything, privacy is the concern. Community necessary information, community information have to be stored at the local level. Obviously, it brings in the privacy concerns. And the next is data safety concerns. You know, India do not have data protection law. Obviously, if our data is misused, what is the outcome? How we have to handle that? Next is mild moderation. Today, economy is said to be on a recovery path. But what is the biggest hurdle for this economic recovery? What can dampen this economic recovery? That is rise in prices, which we call as inflation. This inflation, where it is coming from? Today, if you observe, transport costs are increasing. If the transport cost goes up, they will affect the every other sector. The increase in petrol and diesel prices is the reason for this. Second, food inflation from vegetables is coming down. But food inflation related to protein, especially meat prices, fish prices, these are all going up. The protein cost is increasing, protein related inflation is going up. Further to this, we also have expectations of the people that can influence the price. If the people feel that the prices are going to go up, they hoard the grains. They keep the grains for their safety. They stock the grains. So, when public expectations of inflation is high, when they believe that prices are going to rise, then prices will really rise. The public believe that today prices will go up. Because of this, the RBI has a bigger challenge before it, that is inflation. So RBI's monetary policy has to primarily target on inflation control. This is called inflation targeting. Now today, due to economic issue, RBI's monetary policy is focusing on growth. So from growth perspective to inflation targeting, it has to shift. Growth to inflation targeting. So the primary focus of RBI shall be inflation targeting. That is the take home point here. Next, why Jawaharlal Nehru University matters. In this topic, let us try to understand a point. Jawaharlal Nehru University is a microcosm of India. It is all inclusive. People from various socio-economic strata are part of this university. And second, this university is a democratic space. It means it allows for open debate among various sections of the people. JNU elections are the elections where there will be no money power. People have to contest the elections with handwritten posters, not through printed posters. It means printed posters are again expensive. So that's why money power shall not be there with regard to this. So elections are held regularly and every issue is solved through debate and open speech is being allowed. And the third most important thing, academic arena. Here ideas are being promoted. Ideas of social, economic, political debates, they are promoted and rewarded. And that's where the engagement between the teaching and research will be there. This is the university is not just involved with knowledge production, distribution. It is also involved in making the children to get the knowledge acquisition by themselves. So that's why this is a very vibrant space of living for education. That's how it can be stated as. The next article is Law and Disorder. This talks about the issues of justice delivery system and what are the problems with it. The justice delivery system has many systemic problems. The first one is too many backlog of cases. As more backlogs are there, justice delayed is justice denied. The second is free legal aid is promised in India, but no financial allocations are there. You have a law that is called Legal Services Authority Act. This act is enacted in 1987. It is supposed to establish free legal aid to the poor, which is inactive. And judges to population ratio, if you see in India, what is that? It is around 19 per 1 million population. It is too low. If you take USA, it is 100 per 1 million. Canada around 75, UK around 50. It is 19 and most of these posts, at least 30 to 40% are vacant many a times. So the judges to population ratio is very low. And further to this, access to justice, it means the court shall be available within the vicinity and the judgments have to be speedy and litigation has to be affordable and then courts have to be accessible for all. So speedy, affordable, accessible justice, this is what is being promised to the citizens, but it is not being given to them. So that's why we need to reform the justice system in India. That is the essence of this article. Next is scrap quotas for IIT faculty ministry panel. Ministry of Education has appointed a panel to look into reservations in academic positions in IIT. According to this panel, these reservations need to be removed because the candidates with PhD qualifications are not available. Even if they are available, they are not to the expected standards of excellence. Already central educational institutions, teachers, that is teachers reservation in teachers cadre, this act is been passed. This act is passed in 2019. According to that, if institution is declared as a center for excellence, in those no reservations or quotas are allowed. So then this committee argues that all IITs have to be declared as centers of excellence and these reservations can be done away with. And second, if there is a problem to remove the reservations, at least they have to be restricted to assistant professor level alone. And third is, apprenticeship has to be provided by Ministry of Social Justice so that more PhDs can come from weak and marginalized sections and the necessary human resources will be available for the necessary quotas in IIT. Like this, the suggestions are being made. Farmers protest chokes units in Bahadurgarh. The prelims question may be possible here. Bahadurgarh is known for plastic footwear or non-leather footwear. And Kanpur, Agra, these are known for leather footwear. So that's why Bahadurgarh is in the news. So remember it for prelims. The next article is USA imposes CAATSA sanctions on Turkey over S-400 purchase. You know Turkey is a part of NATO. NATO is alliance promoted by America, West. In spite of being part of NATO, Turkey is developing a defense purchasing relationship with Russia. And Turkey is buying S-400 Triumph missiles from Russia. Then what the US is saying, if you buy these things from Russia, then whatever the NATO secrets, they can be captured by Russia. It is dangerous to NATO. So America, what it did is, NATO is collectively developing a fighter jet that is called F-35 fighter jet. From that project, it threw away the Turkey. Now, in spite of that, Turkey moved ahead and is acquiring S-400 Triumph missiles. In this context, there is an act in USA that is called CAATSA. CAATSA means countering American adversaries through Sanctions Act. So it means any adversary of America is there, then sanctions can be applied to control them. So these CAATSA sanctions are going to be applied on Turkey. If you see, there is a point to India over here. India is also importing S-400 Triumph missiles from Russia. And will India face the same consequences as like Turkey? We have to wait and see. These are the discussion points today. Thank you very much. And this is Dr. Rambabu signing off for Law Excellence IAS. Thank you.